This is 6th grade Excel, lesson number 10. We're going to be looking at all different kinds of measurement today. And first of all, we're going to go over the 3 different ways that we measure things. Here they are right here, 1, 2, and 3. The first one is called distance or length. And that's when we measure from one spot to another. And there are different ways of measuring from one spot to another, or different units of measurement for measuring those distances. We have inches, feet, yards, miles. All 3 of these are the ways that we measure, mostly in the United States. And then in the metric system, we have centimeters, meters, and kilometers, and that's what most of the rest of the world uses to measure distance. A door might be measured in centimeters or inches, the width of a room in feet, yards, or meters, and the length of a road in miles or kilometers. The second kind of measurement that we do is called weight, measurement of weight. And it says, let's start with this part over here. Grams, kilograms, ounces, pounds, and tons are all measures used for weight. Grams, kilograms, those are both metric system. And then the rest of these ounces, pounds, and tons are used in the English Standard System, which is what we use here in the United States. A pencil can be measured in grams, a bird in ounces, a person in pounds or kilograms, and an elephant in tons. You would also measure the weight of a car in tons. A ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. All right, the third type of measurement that we do is called volume. And that's where we measure how much space something takes up. And here are the examples of volume measurement. We have cups, pints, quarts, gallons. These are all part of the English Standard System that we use here in the United States. And in the metric system, we measure volume with milliliters and liters. Those are the 2 ways of measuring in the metric system volume. A thimble, that's like a little cup that you put on your thumb when you want to protect. It's a little metal cup. When you're sewing, you would put it on your thumb to protect your thumb from getting poked by a needle. A thimble filled with water might be measured in milliliters. So if we're going to measure a very small amount of liquid, we'd use milliliters to see how much space it takes up. If you fill the gas tank of a car, it might be measured in gallons or liters. Milk is sold by the pint, quart, or gallon, and most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with those ways of measuring volume when you go to the grocery store. All right, moving on. Temperature is measured. This is a different way of measuring things. We measure temperature using a thermometer. Degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius are the units used to describe how hot or cold it is. The symbol that looks like this represents the word degrees. So we're going to see what the temperature is on both of these thermometers, and I'd like you to measure this one and write the answer in here, measure this one and write the answer right in there. Pause the video while you're doing that, turn it back on when you're ready to see the solution. All right, this thermometer over here on the left, we have this being 70 degrees, that would be 71, and that's 72, and that's where it's filled up to. So that's 72, and notice the degrees Fahrenheit. This is a Fahrenheit scale. You always need to put the degree sign and the letter, either F or C for Fahrenheit or Celsius, as your label for temperatures. And then in Celsius, it is, which is really equal, these are, I guess, equal to each other. It shows you right there the answer, 22 degrees Celsius. All right, now we're going to do some problems having to do with comparing measurements. It says the weight of a sparrow might be measured in, and then you have grams, gallons, and kilometers. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video, see if you can come up with what the answer to that question is, circle the number, either 6, 7, or 8, and then turn the video back on to see if you're correct. All right, if you would look back on your lesson in the weight section that we went over at the very beginning, you would see that the only one of these 3 that has anything to do with weight is grams. And a gram is a very light unit of measurement for weight. It's about the weight of a paperclip. And so you would measure a sparrow in, that it weighs 200 grams or whatever. And so that one would make sense. Gallons is used for measuring volume, and kilometers is used for measuring distance. All right, go ahead and do number 2. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready to see the solution. Here we go. The height of a small child might be measured in miles. Well, a kid's not going to be a certain number of miles tall. Kilometers, that's kind of like miles. A kilometer is equal to about 6/10 of a mile. So that's way too big. But then inches would make sense. You should have circled the 3 because you'd measure the height of a child in inches. All right, let's go over this information in this chart here. It says the prefix kilo means 1,000. So 1,000 grams is a kilogram. 1,000 meters is a kilometer. The prefix milli means 1,000th of. It's not 1,000, but it's 1,000th. So if we take something that's kind of bigger and we break it into 1,000 little pieces, one of those is going to be a milli piece, a milli something. So 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter, and 1,000 millimeters is equal to 1 meter. Other standard measurement equivalents, and you should know these from previous years: 1 yard is equal to 3 feet, 1 foot is equal to 12 inches, 100 centimeters is equal to a meter. Centa means 100. Think about what you know already that has to do with cent. That means 100, like there are 100 cents in a dollar. And then 12 items is a dozen. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. 1 pound is 16 ounces. And 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. You should have this in your binder already in your glossary of math terms that you can refer back to if you forget those conversions. All right, last part here, we're going to be converting some inches and feet and so on. And so the way we're going to do this here, we've got 2 different measurements that are going to be converted. So I have 2 feet that goes into inches and 3 inches that's going into inches. 3 inches is obviously equal to 3 inches. It's the exact same thing. So all I have to do is change the 2 feet into inches by doing 12 times 2 is 24, because there are 12 inches in a foot, and then there's 2 of those 12 inches, 2 feet. 12 times 2 is 24, and then I've got these 3 inches that are being combined with that 2 feet, so I put 24 and 3, making 27 inches altogether. All right, once you pause the video, try number 4, and then turn it back on when you're ready for the solution. Notice you are doing feet here, not inches. So to change this 3 yards into feet, what we're going to do is think about how many feet are there in a yard. And there are 3 feet in a yard. Here's a yard. 3 feet that make up a yard. We're not talking inches here. It's not 12 inches. It's not 36 inches. It's 3 feet for every yard. So if I have 3 yards and there are 3 feet in every yard, that's 9 feet altogether, plus an extra 2 feet. So 9 plus 2 is equal to 11. 11 feet. All right, these next problems, you're going to draw a circle around the letter representing the correct answer. Sometimes you will need to convert one of the choices. And when you do need to convert the choice, you need to show that. It says for number 5, which one's shorter? And this part is the show work. Let's just, this would not be there in a problem like that. You'd have to add that on yourself. So it says 22 inches and 2 feet. So you can see what they did is they changed 2 feet into 24 inches. So now we can compare 24 inches and 22 inches, and we see that 22 inches is shorter than 24 inches. This is your show work. You need to do that on these kinds of problems if it makes sense to do that. All right, number 6, which one's longer, 3 miles or 56 feet? Well, 56 feet is, you know, the distance across the playground or part of the playground or something. 3 miles is much, much further than that. So the answer would be A, 3 miles. You don't need to show any work on that one. Go ahead and do 7 and 8. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready to see the solution. Which one's heavier, 46 ounces or 4 pounds? Now, you should have shown your work on this because we can't really compare pounds and ounces, and it's too close to just be able to tell off the top of your head. So 46 ounces is 46 ounces, but how many ounces is 4 pounds? There are 16 ounces in a pound, so you should have shown your work by doing 16 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 6, that's 64 ounces, and 64 ounces is more than 46 ounces, so we'd circle the B. Number 8, which one's lighter? 3 kilograms or 26 grams? Well, it takes 1,000 grams to equal a kilogram, so obviously this one right here is 3,000 grams, and that's way more than 26 grams. That would be A on that one. If you didn't show your work on that last one, that's okay, because that one's not even close.